The U.S. President Donald Trump announced on social media Monday that a ceasefire had been brokered between Israel and Iran. The announcement came just hours after Iran launched missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar. Let's bring in Vikas Dwivedi, Global Energy Strategist at Macquarie Group. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
How much faith do you have in this ceasefire holding?
We feel fairly confident that it will hold. And really, it's because of the United States very forcefully, asking both sides to keep the ceasefire intact and acknowledging that, look, there's still a lot of things to work out, but try to, not end up in a military exchange again. Look, it doesn't mean it's going to not have anything, but broadly, we think the ceasefire will hold.
Okay, if it doesn't, what does that look like? What options does Iran have in this situation?
Yeah, look, if the ceasefire doesn't hold, we think that, Iran can pursue some of the logistical disruption that they have advertised, like the Strait of Hormuz. We don't think they can successfully do it, but they can scare the market in oil that they might try. They may try to interfere with production assets in the region, which they've shown they have the ability to do that. So I think those are ways that would impact oil and energy that they could do. Militarily, it's less clear. It's not clear how much they still have remaining in their arsenal. They have expended a lot. And it's also not clear whether they would want to take a President Trump, who is right now feeling positive about what they're doing and in the ceasefire, and then turn that on its head and end up having a stronger engagement with the U.S. military. And that would clearly be not in their interest to do, right? And then that could escalate into calls for regime change, meaning, hey, this Iranian leadership is just not going to stop. And we think all of those would be very inadvisable for Iran to pursue. So, that takes us all the way back to keeping the odds of a really bad loss of the ceasefire fairly low.
Investors seem optimistic as well, right? That a ceasefire will in some way hold. Do you think they should be?
Yeah, we think so. There will be new reports and news coming about, how successful was the U.S. bombing mission on the nuclear sites. And if it was viewed to be less successful than initially thought, then maybe, things get a little bit more heightened again in terms of the attention. But can that still be handled while the ceasefire is intact? We view that as still very possible.
Donald Trump at one time, did not want people to buy oil from Iran, other nations. Now He's saying China can buy oil from Iran. Do you think that was a give to Iran for backing down in the conflict?
Yeah, it's two things. It's absolutely, Marilla, what you just said. It's a give to Iran. And it's also something that we've seen now from several presidents, and I think we'll see for the foreseeable future is, do what you need to do to affect your policy agenda, but don't let oil leave the market. And I think this is another example of that, where you're right. Initially, the view was President Trump would come in and really slash Iran's exports in whatever way was possible to do that. And now it's exactly 180 of that. But we think that's just moving back to where it was likely to go anyway, despite the initial rhetoric.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. If you put this conflict aside, what do you see happening with the price of oil? Keeping in mind, of course, that Donald Trump wants to keep energy prices down.
Right.
However, only so much of it is in his control. So what do you see happening for the price of oil?
Yeah, we think some of the events that have just been happening now actually, and maybe strangely to viewers, is becoming more bearish. We think if Iran does stay at the levels they've been at, around 1.5, 1.6 million barrels a day of exports, maybe a little bit higher, OPEC continues to bring their barrels back. And the U.S. production growth, which was getting to be concerning when we were down, into the mid 50s just a few weeks ago, we think now that's going to be a little less concerning in terms of how low it could go. It could actually surprise to the upside by the end of the year. And so all else equal, we think the supply side has just gotten better in the middle of these wars. And made oil also kind of in an all else equal way a little bit more bearish.